Our first guests are Jeffrey Carpenter and Jonathan Visser from Bricolage's Hunter-Gatherers. The founder and artistic director of Bricolage, Jeffrey has directed, written, and performed in over 50 productions at places such as City Theater, Barebones, and Quantum. Jonathan, who recently moved to Pittsburgh, has performed at theaters such as Dallas Theater Center, Shakespeare Santa Cruz, and the Clarence Brown Theater. City Paper called Bricolage's recent production of Chicks with Dicks, Bad Girls on Bikes Doing Bad Things, exploitation at its funnest. You won't hear more officially encouraged hootin' and hollerin' from an audience at a demolition derby. Hats off to Tammy Dixon and Jeffrey Carpenter, the mom and pop of the Bricolage operation. Jeffrey and Jonathan, thanks so much for joining me.
Well, thanks for having us.
Jeffrey, why did you choose this play?
This play, I think this play, in reading this play, it kicked me in the gut. So I knew it was something that I was interested in doing. It's, the playwright was really, his background is biology and specifically evolutionary psychology. And he's really looking at this sense that no matter how civilized we become, there's still a primal beast in all of us. And the play bespeaks to that.
Let's just jump right in. The play begins with two characters slaughtering an animal. How much of this are we going to see?
Well, it depends. We are working with a fantastic, I won't, we have a wonderful special effects artist that's working with us, Steve Tolan, and he's created, it will be pretty real.
Cool. And Jonathan, your character gets to slaughter the animal. Yeah. What is it like pretending to slaughter an animal on stage?
Unlike anything I've ever done.
That's probably good.
So I haven't killed, I grew up on 5 acres. Oh. I grew up in Washington State on 5 acres. And so we killed animals on the farm that I grew up on, and we had sheep, and we had goats and ducks and all kinds of things, animals that pluck chickens and things like that. So
that's so great.
So it won't be my first animal that I've killed. It'll be my first imaginary animal that I've killed.
So you have like real experience to draw on.
And slaughtering it? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, mostly when I was younger. Mm-hmm. I moved from there when I was 15, so I guess I haven't killed any animals since I was 15.
Well, other than enjoying fresh meat, tell me about your character.
Richard is a bit of a dilettante. He has this need to do everything well. From painting to sculpture, making food, to dancing and living.
His novel,
my novel. He thrives on excelling in life, and it's a drive that is insatiable. It's unquenchable.
He has one particular thing that in the play he discovers is his calling, his gift, his special gift. His purpose.
Yes, the reason he is on this Mother Earth.
Yes.
But you don't want to give too much away.
I'm not going to give that away.
Play.
And it's a family show, so we have to.
Well, and I don't want to give too much, but I have a question. There are several parts that are so outlandish. It seems to me that it would be a little hard to portray it on stage without giving too much away. Can you talk about how you address that as a director?
Well, I think that the playwright, it starts with the playwright, and Peter has such an unbelievable knack for creating for theatricality. He really puts himself in the audience's position, so he really knows how to pull an audience onto the edge of their seats, and you sort of never know what's coming next. A lot of the things that, like the ritual slaughter of an animal on stage, it's hard because I don't want to give a lot away, but there are a lot of special effects.
Lots of good surprises.
A lot of challenges as a producer to address, you know. But we've had such a wonderful design team that I've always went from the minute I read the script was drawn in by, you know, how are we going to do this? And that's sort of where that's when I know a play is something I want to do, and I have no idea how we're going to do it. So,
whenever you are directing the actors in the extreme moments, do you tend to push them to go a little crazier, or do you tend to try and hold them back a little and ground them?
I think Jonathan could answer that, but I you know, the basis of this play is grounded in reality, even though the extremes are outlandish and sometimes ridiculous. It's always coming from a place of real need and real purpose, and it's really about heightening those stakes for the actors. And I mean, Jonathan could speak to.
Yeah, it's a line that you walk on one side and the other, and you allow yourself to be less truthful, and so you can be more free and crazy, like you say, crazy, and make larger, more ridiculous choices. But then you have to come back to the truth of the matter, and you marry them. And so eventually, when you're slipping on one side or the other, eventually you get both of them together, and you can have a performance that's, one, very honest, and two, heightened and large, and just an enormous size.
During the rehearsal process, have you found yourself sort of staying true to a path, or do you find yourself sort of mixing up the places where you're grounding and heightening?
Personally, as an actor, I prefer to give myself permission to do anything, however outlandish it is, and then find the truth within it and come back and center it, as opposed to being center. If I start from a place that's very centered and logical, I find it much more difficult to throw myself outside of that. If I just throw myself somewhere, then I can come back to truth. So that's the path I usually take.
Great.
I will say that we're very blessed to have an unbelievable cast that's really, you know, skilled comedians, but also just incredible actors, and the play is incredibly physical.
Yes.
So all of them are very, very adept with very in control of their bodies, and it's just been a delight to work with them. They really brought this thing to life, and I think it's going to be an incredible production.
One final question. What do you think this play might be satirizing, if you think it's a satire?
I think that it's a wickedly funny farce, but it is definitely trying to get at something that, you know, I mean, in this day and age, you know, my generation in particular, we're saddled with, you know, this incredible array of choices that can be somewhat paralyzing. I mean, you walk down the toothpaste aisle and you have a million choices, and yet none of them actually matter. None of them have any significance to our real, you know, life and death. And I think that that's what he's really getting at ultimately, is that, you know, without that, you know, meaning, you know, that our choices have meaning, we become removed from who we really are. And I think that that's really what the play is getting at. Although, again, I mean, it's in the guise of just hilariously, wickedly funny, dark but funny.
Yes.
Really.
Well, best of luck. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Bricolage presents Hunter Gatherers, running April 14th through May 7th. For tickets, visit them on the web at webbricolage.org. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Sure.